We are on page 36, and this is the hot question. So it's the second part. This is the second video for page 36, and it's going to be questions 32 through 34. These get a little bit harder. Don't be too discouraged if they're difficult for you. Just watch the video, take the hints, check your answers, and fix them to the best of your ability. Number 32 is communicate mathematical ideas. Tasha believes that she can rewrite the difference of 120 minus 36 as a product of the GCF of the two numbers and another difference. Is she correct? And explain your answer. First of all, could you find the greatest common factor of 120 and 36? And the answer is yes, you can. Think about just the factors of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12. And when I say 12, I wonder if it makes you think that, yeah, I wonder if 12 goes in both those numbers. If you looked at a multiplication chart, if you looked at your 12s, you would realize that the greatest common factor of those two numbers is 12. So I'm going to go ahead and put 12 right here. And it says as a product, that means to multiply. And then now we're looking for two other numbers. So let's think about how this is going to be similar to the problems we just did at the top of the page. How many times does 12 go into 120? That goes in 10 times. And in this case, I'm not going to add because look, this sign right here is subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. How many times does 12 go into the second number there, 36? It's 3 times. And so now what I'm going to do is check my work. What is the actual answer of 10 minus 3? It's 7. And now I'm going to multiply that by 12. And you can use a multiplication table or you can use a calculator. I like to use a calculator here to just to show you. So if I do 12 times 7, what do I get? That is equal to 84. Now what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to actually do, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this right here. Do 120 minus 36. 120 minus 36 is equal to, wow, it's 84. So that's proof that, in fact, I'll write it on my final line there. Maybe I'll say this. Yes, because, and watch the math problem that I write here. Yes, because 120 minus 36 is equal to the same thing as 12 times 10 minus 3. And 12 times 10 minus 3 is the product of the greatest common factor of the two numbers and the other difference, which happens to be 7. So again, I know that's a little bit confusing, but it is similar to what we did at the top. The main difference between this and what we did at the top of the page is that this was a subtraction problem, but it's the same thing. So good job. All right, moving on. Question number 33 went way too far. Sorry about that. Question number 33 reads, persevere in problem solving. Says, explain how to find the greatest common factor of three numbers. So let's just pick maybe some easy numbers here. Let us pretend that we have, I don't know, I'll just choose three numbers here. Let's say greatest common factor of 6, 9, and 15. So what am I going to do? Well, if it was just 6 and 9, we would list the factors of 6 and 9. And the factors of 6 include 1 and 2 and 3 and 6. And the factors of 9 are 1 and 3 and 9. And all we're going to do here is just make a third list. The factors of 15 are 1 and 3 and 5 and 15. And what numbers go in all of them? 1 is in all three, and then there's only one other number. It's 3. 3 is in all three factors. So it says explain how to do that. I would do the same thing as what I just did. I would list all of the factors of all three numbers, comma, examine the lists. I'm going to call them factor lists. Examine the factor lists carefully and select the greatest number that appears in all three lists. That appears in all three factor lists. I'm actually pretty proud of that explanation. I think that answers the question. That right there, what you're looking at right now, is an example and a well-written answer. Good job. Okay, moving on. Let's check out number 34. I'm going to pronounce this person's name Zhao. The problem is critique reasoning, and let's go ahead and talk about what maybe that means. Critique reasoning. that means that Zhao is going to do something here, and we need to examine what he does and check for accuracy. In other words, he made a mistake. Let's find it. Zhao's teacher asked him to rewrite the sum 60 plus 90 as the product of the GCF of the two numbers and a sum. Zhao wrote 3, and what they don't do here, they're kind of introducing it right now, what they don't do here is they don't show this as multiplication. That's okay. Zhao wrote 3 times 20 plus 30. What mistake did Zhao make, and how should he have written the sum? So what I'm going to do here is kind of examine 60 plus 90, and what Zhao did was he is saying that that is equal to 2 times, I'm inserting the multiplication sign. They didn't do it, but that doesn't matter. Oops, I did that wrong. He pulled out 3 as the factor. 3 times 20. And before I even write the rest of the problem, I'm going to examine this right here. Is 3 times 20 equal to 60? It is, so that's not a problem. So I'm going to add, and then he added 30. And now I'm going to check this way. I'm going to say 3 times 30. What's 3 times 30? It's 90. Then I could use a calculator to check. This is tricky. I wonder what we're going to do here. 60 plus 90 is 150. Now on this one I would do 20 plus 30. That's 50. I'm going to multiply that by 3 and I get 150. So those are equal to each other. So if they're equal to each other, then what mistake did he make? I'll give you a hint. The mistake is right here. If I were asked to find the greatest common factor of 60 and 90, I wouldn't have decided it was 3. So right off the bat, he didn't identify the greatest common factor. That's his first mistake. I can go ahead and do this. His math isn't wrong, but he didn't find the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor of 60 and 90 is much larger than 3. Some kids would say it's 10. It's actually bigger than 10. It's 30. 30 goes into 60 2 times. And 30 goes into 90 3 times. This is the correct answer right here. It's going to be 30 times 5. 30 times 5 is equal to 150. The difference, and if you say, well, the last time when you showed Zhao's example, his added up to 150 also. But the problem was he just didn't follow the directions by, this is not the GCF. 3 is not the GCF of those two numbers. So what we wanted to do was find the GCF and then multiply that by the other numbers. Okay, you are done with page 36. Good job.